Father within you. All because you did not recognize your opportunity when God offered it. This is the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
One of the reasons why you see this chapel that was built by Barghouti facing west and not facing east, I mean the apse is facing west, is a reminder that Jesus was standing and looking west towards Jerusalem. Most of the Byzantines, when you go inside, you see the ancient Byzantine basilica that had a regular apse towards the east, and you see the mosaics and the old stone and the system. Barghouti decided to turn the church and the apse to the city to remind the people of the story where Jesus right. Now when you look to the right hand side, look at that golden onion shaped church. This is the church of Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene is a Russian Orthodox church, was built by the Kaiser of Germany and St. Europe in the 19th century to honor his mother Mary, and today it's known as Mary Magdalene Church. And of course beneath us we go into the Gethsemane. If you look in front of us, you can see the Kidron Valley. Now we're on Mount of Olives. In front of us where these two mosques are standing is Mount Moriah, and in between of course we have the Kidron Valley, and we have something we call the last path of Jesus. Jesus was arrested in the Gethsemane at the the bottom of the mountain, and he was taken through the Kidron Valley up to the Mount Zion area. That's the Mount Zion area where you see those big towers and the church. And on the slope, someplace there's a place called St. Peter in Caliganto. St. Peter in Caliganto is built on top of the house of Caiaphas, where Jesus was taken and was present for one night. And that also is known as the place where St. Peter denied Jesus. And St. Peter occurred that church over there. We're going to visit, I think, today. If you look at the slopes of the mountain, most of the things you see on the left-hand side, even beneath us right here, this is a Jewish cemetery. According to the Jews, this is the oldest Jewish cemetery in history, more than 2,000 years ago, and still in use, one of the most expensive cemeteries. Tombs can get up to $20,000 per one tomb, of course, because they want to be buried very close to where the day of the judgment occur. On the other hand side, you can see another Muslim cemetery that's scattered all around the walls of Jerusalem, and of course the Mercy Gate. Cemetery we see on the Muslim cemetery that we see beside the walls. Sometimes Jews explain it as a Hermetic cemetery, and they would say that Muslims deliberately buried in that area so that the Messiah cannot enter, because the Jewish Messiah cannot enter the Jewish cemetery. My Messiah will enter because he doesn't have cemetery. Jesus will pass through the cemetery. Remember that Jesus brought people from death, went to the tombs, Nazareth was taken up to the tomb. So according to Jewish traditions, they would say that the Muslims actually started burying here from the 7th century, and it's right, they started burying in the 7th century, but I wouldn't say it for that reason, because they want to block the entrance of the Messiah through the Golden Gate, but simply because this is to the east side of the city. Now these slopes were all full of the Jewish cemetery, and always you bury the people on the eastern side of your residence, so that the wind will always blow the backslide away from the city. That's the Golden Gate where you see those two arches, Golden Gate, Mercy Gate, beautiful gate, or Eastern Gate. Now we have to understand that this gate is not the same gate. It's exactly on the same spot. I mean, underneath it we have ruins of that gate that existed in the days of Jesus. Remember that the walls were actually built by Solomon the Magnificent, including the gates we see today. Some of the ruins of that gate, or some of the parts of that gate, goes back to the time of the Byzantine Emperor Hercules. He built actually those walls. He built the gate, and story says that the gate of Hercules was actually blocked later in the days of Saladin. Saladin wanted to protect the city wall, this area. It was a weak area, and he decided to block the gate. But traditionally, three religions believe that this gate will be open only when the Messiah comes back again. If you look at the area starting from the left-hand side, the Grey Mosque, and going all the way until that line of trees ends, that's the area of the Temple Mount. That's the area where the first temple existed, the second temple existed. First temple was destroyed in the year 586 by the Babylonians, by Nasser. The second temple was destroyed in the year 70 by the Romans, by Titus. And in 638 the Muslims came here, arrived here, and they found and they identified the rock that the Jews believe that Isaac was supposed to be sacrificed on top, and Muslims believe, the story says that Prophet Muhammad ascended from the same rock up to heaven to bring the rules of Islam. Because Islam tells the Muslims to pray, tells them to fast, tells them to give charity just like any other religion, but it doesn't give the explanation. So the story in Islam says that Muhammad traveled to heavens and he met with Jesus, he met with Moses, he met with the Lord, of course, and he wrote the rules of Islam in one night, and that's the one miracle of Prophet Muhammad for Muslims. Now, just not to get complicated or confused, a lot of people would think that this is the important site for Muslims. It's not. The Golden Dome is not the important place. This is the important one, the Grey Mosque. That's the Aqsa Mosque, which means the further mosque, the very far mosque from Mecca. And this is the third holiest place for Muslims in the world. After Mecca, Medina in Saudi Arabia, this comes to be number 3. And this is the one that is mentioned in the Holy Quran, the Aqsa Mosque, not the Dome of the Rock. The Dome of the Rock was built in the same time of the Aqsa Mosque, but the Dome of the Rock was more built as a monument to protect the rock. Now, Muslims says that the Quran says that Prophet Muhammad ascended from the Aqsa Mosque. It never said from the rock itself. It said from the area of the Aqsa Mosque, which is a huge area, whether it was the temple or the Aqsa Mosque. It's about 144 dunums, 15 hectares, and it dominates about 6 of the whole city of Jerusalem. So any place which is the 144 dunums, tomorrow we are climbing that area, is holy for Muslims, is holy for Jews. But for Jews, they believe there's one spot, which is called the Holy of the Holiest. The place where the Ark of the Covenant used to be and where the sacrifices used to be given. And the Jews do not know the exact spot. That's why you will never see a religious Jew, a very religious Jew, climbing the mountain, because they don't want, by mistake, to step on the Holy of the Holiest. The Holy of the Holiest is allowed only for one person on one day to enter that area, and it's usually the High Priest of Israel on the Yom Kippur. Any other person is not allowed to climb the mountain because he might step on that area by mistake. So if you see any Jews on the mountain, they are not religious. If they are religious, they're not supposed to go up until the Israeli rabbis will confirm and say, this is the spot of the Holy of the Holiest, and they will show it to people, and then it's okay. There will not be any fear of stepping in that area. Okay? If you look beyond the Golden Dome, exactly beside it to the right, there's 2 gray domes. There's gray domes, yeah, small one and large one. That's the hill of the Calvary. That's the Holy Sepulchre. And that's where Jesus was crucified and was later buried. Tomorrow we are doing that place. We're doing the whole Via Dolorosa, the complex of the mosque, and we're going to the Via Dolorosa. I told you that's the Mount Zion, but if you look to the slopes of Mount Zion and you get to the entrance of the valley right here, you can see a small area with some old walls. I don't know if it's clear to you. That's the area of the ancient city of King David. King David built his city down in the Kidron Valley and up towards the area, the beginning of the area of the mosque. He never built the temple, David. David was a warrior, his hand was full of blood, and God couldn't order him to build the temple of Jerusalem. His son Solomon was the one who took his father's city, built the first temple, and expanded Jerusalem. Okay, so that's the area of David's city, and over there exists the only spring in Jerusalem called the Gihon Spring. The Gihon Spring also leads to one of the biblical pools in Jerusalem, and it is known in the Bible as the Pool of Siloam. The Pool of Siloam is one of the places where Jesus cured the blind man, and it's located down in the area of the city of David. Now, we're going to go inside the church. We're going to see remains of that Byzantine church. Take pictures. We're going to spend 2 minutes. If there is no mass, I don't think there is a mass, so we can do it now. And afterwards, we're going back and continuing down the hills to get to the Garden of Gethsemane. Before we move, any questions?